Good evening, good evening, everybody. This is a new edition of the Insider's Room. It's called the Insider's Chat with the Professor of the Greek. As you know, I'm the Professor Dan Kaiser, and I'm happy to bring on an original insider who was our master at live betting, live in-game betting, and that is Greg the Greek. Greg, how you doing?
Hey Dan, how's it going, man?
Good, mate. Yeah, I haven't had you on. Things haven't happened. I haven't had you on in a while. And I look back at our last talk, and I got done. I'm thinking, oh, that's a nice 20-minute talk, and then I looked up, and it was almost an hour. I mean, but
Yeah.
that's how that's how it happens. When we just free flow. So what this it's conference tournaments are winding down. Do you have any just thoughts on conference tournaments, how they played out already?
I mean, I think it's definitely like a bettor's dream because you can kind of see how these guys play back to back days in some cases, and to be able to see that coupled with what you have already seen with them earlier in the season really gives you like an edge in being able to cap the game and knowing what's going to happen. So I think that the thing that I like the most is the fact that you get this condensed schedule with all the games back to back, and not only that, but they're in the same arenas, and you can really get a feel for like how the teams are playing in a certain arena and what it's like. So, and they're literally waiting in the hallways before the games. So it gives you a lot of different angles to like watch the games and get clued in at the moment for what's going on. Um, I think it's been pretty good so far to see a lot of these teams make runs that you maybe wouldn't expect. So, is there any teams that you didn't expect to make a run? Maybe Georgetown, which seems to be have Creighton on the ropes right now as we speak in the first half here.
Actually, yeah, I did have Georgetown in yesterday. I guess after, but it still surprises me even after the livers and draft. I still the Michigan loss surprised me. And I'll be honest with the viewers, I turned it off. I turned it off with 4 minutes left when they're down double digits. I did have them on a couple. I did have Michigan on a couple of bats, but I mean, and I saw after the game, they said, "Oh, Hunter Dickerson. Oh, look at how good he is in the second half." If he would have made some of those shots in the first half or even the beginning of the second half, like a foot away, that seemed the only thing that blocked him was the rim. I
Yeah.
mean, Michigan could be advancing. I think this sets it up nice for Illinois to get the second number one seed.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what I was saying to us in our chat earlier today about Illinois. I really think that this is exactly identical to what happened to them last season. They were gelling perfectly right as they were heading into the NCAA tournament, and then the pandemic hit. And the same thing's happening this year. They are gelling perfectly and showing to be one of the most elite teams in the entire NCAA. So I think they're like you said. I think they probably will pull it out and end up being a one seed. I just think that it's one of those things like from last year that they have unfinished business. They have two guys that are probably going to be NBA. I mean, you tend to see a lot of these guys that end up being the good NBA stars end up making deep runs in a lot of these tournaments late in the year. So I think that Illinois is one of those teams to watch out for. I mean, there's a lot of basketball left to be played, but uh, they're a deep team. I think that like you see a lot of these teams that have that big presence down low, like Michigan with Dickinson, like Kofi Coburn, the guys that have that. guy that just can be that presence down low makes such a difference. And being like one of the top teams in the league. So, I mean, anyone can beat anyone, obviously, but they're definitely a team I like.
Yeah, in saying that though, uh, in saying that, here's my thing is, I just look at the Big Ten. I mean, Colburn stud.
Yeah,
I like Garza. I think Liddell is a little undersized at where he's at. But I look at Dickerson, and I'm just like, the guy's soft.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's definitely more of like whatever you want to say, a
George
technical.
Muresan.
Yeah, he's like a technical type of player. He's not a guy that's gonna beat you up like Garza or Kofi Coburn will down low. So definitely can see your problems with him there.
Well, I was watching the game today, and obviously, I'm a sparring guy, but I was watching the game today. There's a couple of things. He was like 2, 3 feet, 2 foot from the basket, a foot from the basket. Those are the things that people like Shaq or I'm dating myself, but like Shaq or other guys. I'm just gonna go up and dunk it. That's it.
And I like that too. They'll take that extra,
But he
second to
doesn't.
gather themselves and just jam it on you.
But he doesn't. I mean,
Yeah,
he'll throw up a little like try to like layup or whatever. I mean, there's a couple of times he got blocked by the rim. Listen, Michigan is a good team. I think the Livers injury is going to hurt him a lot, and it kind of showed up today. But yeah, I just I had higher hopes for them, and then until the last couple of games, I mean they should have lost to Maryland.
yeah.
So,
I mean, we'll know a lot more after these next couple of days because we'll get to see the play out of the conference tournament and then what their path is in the NCAA tournament.
right.
And that will be, obviously really telling because you'll be able to kind of map out who they're going to have to beat and that sort of thing. So I think you'll be able to kind of pick who's going to have a good shot at getting to like the Final Four once you see all of that. And we'll be able to like talk brackets and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of things to digest after this weekend. That's for sure. And I'm looking at the games right now because we got
Yep.
Oklahoma State and Houston both playing. Or Memphis is down 9, and so is Oklahoma State. So Oklahoma State's playing Texas, and Memphis is playing Houston. One of those games is not gonna end up being. It's not gonna stay the same. It's gonna definitely end closer. The one thing I've been noticing in this conference tournament games is the amount of teams that have been making runs that are down big. I mean, like almost every team, that is whatever you want to say, like a formidable squad, has been making like a huge run, whether it was Purdue the other night when they pushed that game into overtime when they had no business being in the game. So
or Alabama today.
they pulled out the win and the cover.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's just a crazy time,
Yeah, for
So,
sure. I mean,
go ahead.
no, it is crazy. I mean, you see teams that won't cover the first half spread and the money line dog wins, and then all of a sudden the favorite wins outright and covers by a mile. So yeah, tons of stuff.
So here's the thing that got me today, and it's not a hidden thing because I've said it on live videos for different things, and obviously it's been posted in the Discord. My hatred for Duke in basketball is I can't say it's second to none because I'm sure I'm probably right up there with most people that hate Duke. I what I found fascinating, and I'm not sure we're tested or the COVID protocols, and the AD said, "Oh no, we're out." And then I listened to ESPN today with Reese Davis, and he's like, "Oh." It was almost like he's saying, "Oh, they're doing everybody," because Duke's AD came out and said, "Well, if we're drafted, we will play." But and Reese Davis almost made that seem like it was going to be it's like their patriotic duty to play. I'm so done with them. It's the fact that people are saying, "Oh, well, look at who they're being. Oh, they'll play." They weren't going to get invited anyway. So for the
It was
AD, so for the AD, say,
it was such an easy cop out for everyone,
yeah,
all across the board from, Coach K preserving his, all his records and all that to people being able, like you're saying. So, I mean, it was just such an easy out for them to go out that way. Because think about it, people were going to be mad if they got in, and then because they didn't have the resume to support it. But then there's going to be all these other people that would just want them in because it would sell. So this was like an easy way for them to kind of keep them out, and that's the way I see it. So kind of worked out.
yeah. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I can almost see Coach K. I can almost think that's the way out. Yeah, we have somebody with COVID. We will have to play the next game and lose that, and then we're definitely out. We'll claim COVID. We'll sit out, and hopefully we can manipulate the thing again. There's no way. I agree with you. There's no way they should be in.
Yeah,
And
probably not.
I heard a funny thing today on one of the sports stations I listen to, and they're saying the head. Well, it was kind of a joke, but the head of the committee is the AD from Kentucky,
Yeah,
and they're saying there's no way that guy's gonna walk up to the mic and announce Duke is in the field or as the replacement team because they're just laughing at it because he would not be allowed back in Kentucky.
yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things, and now they'll everyone will look back and they'll always be able to say, well, they didn't make the tourney, but it wasn't. We don't really know. They could have made it if they maybe played it out, blah blah blah. So yeah,
Right.
it'll just be one of those things that people can endlessly debate, and
But yeah, no, I know. Yeah, 50. Yeah, it
we'll
was.
see what happens if any other teams, because they're making it seem like some other teams might last second get pulled because of protocols. So they're leaving it open. I think we're gonna have to wait till like Monday or Tuesday to really know for sure.
Right. But then the NCAA is actually. I found this one quite funny. They said that if all you need is 5 players to play, and I just find that funny. What kind of rough are you going to get? I mean, it could be over at halftime. You might be, you know, if it's a Big Ten, if a Big Ten team has like 5 players, then the game will be over at halftime.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm cutting him in this game right now. Oklahoma State had 3 fouls in the first half. They had to bench him.
So where's that? I know you got. Where's that game sitting right now?
Texas is still up 8. They seem to be really keeping pace. This would have been a really, really good game to have the over in. And Houston's still up about the same 8. And what's very surprising is actually Georgetown's almost up. Is up 18 points at the half, 36-18 against Creighton. I think Creighton
Wow.
was up 4-0 too, so that means that they went a 36-14 run against them.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. It's probably a good thing for me that the sports books all of a sudden got busy just before like these round of games, so I couldn't get in to place bets because I probably would have lost all of them at this point. But so I changed a little bit. I just saw that at football, the Patriot re-signed Cam Newton.
Yeah, yeah, that was an interesting move. The first thing I thought of was that because I know that they can't possibly think that he's capable of carrying them to anything, winning a Super Bowl or deep in the playoffs. So I think it's more actually like a general manager's good decision because they probably see it like they weren't going to use like they couldn't use all that cap that they have, and they were just they need to be able to get a quarterback, right? But at the same time, they everyone knows they need a quarterback, right? So they have no like leverage in any type of trade or, you know, situation where they might move to get somebody or even sign as a free agent. Like, let's say they wanted to sign somebody that was pretty good, right? They probably have to sign him to a lot more knowing that he's going to be the guy in New England, right? So this, I think, you sign somebody that knows the system, right? You already had a year integrating them, trying to coach them up. So you know, I don't think that I think that eventually the Patriots they'll move off of Cam Newton sooner rather than later, but it's one of those things where you got to just kind of keep them in there, you know. What'd you think? Do you think that he's actually they're because they only signed him to a short year deal? You can kind of tell that they're not serious about anything like with him, or they weren't that impressed rather with what he did.
No, I agree, but obviously, Stidham did nothing for him.
Yeah, he looked
You
pretty
know,
bad.
and I think, to be honest with you, I think they might.
Hakeem looked awful though. He really did. He looked terrible.
Right. My thing is, but with them is this: are they going to? Yeah, I mean, so if they want a halfway decent quarterback, they're gonna have to try to trade up. And I just don't think I don't think teams at this point are going to give them any favors. And yeah, Cam Newton, it's not the Cam Newton it was when he won the MVP.
Uh,
And New England's offensive weapons aren't any better. They do get some defensive guys back from COVID, or not COVID, but just sitting out the year because of COVID. But yeah, I don't see this team getting a lot better.
yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, are they getting? I don't really know. Are they getting all those defensive guys back this year?
I No, I don't know officially they are, but I would say probably at least five of them come back. And I talked I just posted this in our Discord room a year ago, and I said I think Bel- Belichick was tanking and basically told these guys to take a year off, hoping they get a bet, you know, hoping they would be worse than they were. Again, but if that was the case, then they should have just stayed with Stidham the whole year. But I don't know. And it is what it is. But well, Kansas City, what do you think about them cutting both tackles? And I read today that they're talking about restructuring Mahomes already.
Yeah, I mean they definitely they're hitting that point. I think where they kept the team together as long as they could to make their run, and now they have to adjust things to make space. And plan for the future accordingly, knowing how their contracts are going to balloon at certain times. So it's one of those things where happens to all the good teams, you know. Even Brady restructured a little bit to help out Tampa Bay as well. I saw now Oklahoma State cut the lead to 4 and Memphis cut the lead to 4. So 2 good endings here on deck for sure.
So, look at those. Any leans, or would you bet those games in line or in game, or just
Well, I
ride it
just
out?
saw Cunningham hit a 3 for Oklahoma State, and he's had like something ridiculous, man. Like seven or 8 second halves with like 18 points plus or something. So he just tends to go off. It wouldn't surprise me if they beat Texas. I like Oklahoma State with the points here. What about you? Do you think Texas is going to pull this out?
My thing is, I, uh, I, I wouldn't bet against I wouldn't bet against Kate. He reminds. I just see this team or kind of being like the Danny Manning team that won the national championship.
Yeah. Well, it's like I just said before about how teams that have the superstars tend to be those teams that make runs, right? And that kid Cunningham is a stud. Like, and he's one of those guys. It's not like, you know how like you have those really gifted scorers that are like, he's a gifted scorer that can pass and he makes everyone better around him, and he's got that clutch gene in him. He's got that clutch ability to be
Right.
super clutch at the end of games, and he's got size. So I mean, like, he's got everything you really like. And yeah, and the one thing that made me really think the same thing about Oklahoma State is that I saw the odds on them to win the national championship, and they've surged. Like, they're like went up like they're like 16-1. They're right up there with some other teams that earlier in the season, you know. And I could imagine Oklahoma State a month ago to win the whole NCAA tournament was probably 50-1, something like that. Like, they're probably ridiculous odds, but now they look like one of those teams that just they ball, they fight. You know what I mean? They got a couple guys that stepped up. Anderson now that's stepping up, emerging as the second scorer for them. So, I mean, I hope they beat Texas, because I don't really like Shaka Smart. And then you got the Hardaway against you know,
See, he shouldn't have moved. You're back. You're moving
my
too
bad.
much, right? No, it's all right.
Sorry,
No.
I'm maxing
Hey.
out. But yeah, I was gonna say we got the Memphis game. Houston definitely. Houston reminds me, and like they're kind of similar to that in the sense of Illinois. That, one of those teams that played really well last year for most of the year, and was looking to make a run. So I mean, they're another one of those teams that I would say, they're trying to make a run, but there's too many times where they, had droughts to score, and they're not going to match up against, I think, some of the other teams in the tournament as well. But they're still a good team, and I just can't get over this Patrick Ewing team in Madison Square Garden, where he's telling people to check the rafters for his ID, and he's getting hassled by MSG security over there by some big Italian guy with a suit.
Well, hey, mate, I don't mess around with big Italian guys wearing a suit, especially around New York. But okay, but here's my, I don't know. What was your take on that whole thing
I think
about?
it's hilarious. I think it's
Yeah,
hilarious that that's what he's choosing to talk about after a win.
okay,
That
right.
like he's just like out of all the things he can talk about, he's talking about the damn security people who like pretty funny. Like
So yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny for different reasons. But I thought it was funny. But this is the whole thing. Well, don't they know who I am? Well, hey, listen, it's not. Listen, I everybody. Actually, I wouldn't even say that. But it's not like 1995. It's 2021 and COVID, and these people probably have their things that you have to check every ID. So that's him for us ID. He didn't have it. Oh,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's almost like, oh, don't you know who I am?
Yeah. No, he wanted to be like special.
Yeah. And see, that's why I can't have those kind of jobs. Because yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, you're Patrick Ewan. Show me an ID. You know you're supposed to have it. Come on, show it to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. No, I definitely hear you on that. It's just I think he's trying to make a funny joke out of it, and it worked in his favor. This is it's a good game though. I'm watching here. This Texas Oklahoma State game.
So here's my thing. You've got we're getting close to March Madness, and you know to be honest, I was surprised Cunningham played. I thought they just not risk the injury anymore and patch him to the playoffs. Then you got, as you said, you got Livers injured,
Yeah, it's true. It happens.
and they already lost Brooks. I mean, and obviously Wieskamp seems to be today seems to be doing all right, but it's like all these injuries, and it does take a toll. But going on that, I just don't think Michigan is the same team without him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them drop to like. I know it doesn't really matter in the long run, but like drop to the number 3 or number 4, number 1 seed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter considering what they're gonna have to do anyway to win, but
Well, I
you
think it
know,
does.
it matters in the sense that the team doesn't feel as confident too playing. But it's just more the whole that they don't have the chemistry having played with him all year, so now they have to fill that hole, and it's hard to do that this late in the year when you've been gelling with certain people all year. But I think that there's going to be some probably some other similar news like that to come out in the next few weeks. Always happens every year, so we'll see. Now Memphis just cut their lead to 3. Yeah, these games are definitely gonna come down to the wire. It seems like.
So
I'm gonna also be interested to see this Florida State Georgia Tech game later. Be at the All ACC Conference Player of the Year against Florida State, who has one of the deeper teams. So
so if I was to ask you right now,
mhm.
who do you think is going to win it all?
I mean,
You don't have to give me one. Give me like
it's tough. I mean,
give me your 2 favorites. I know we don't have
yeah.
the
I
bracket.
mean,
I know we don't have the bracket. That means a lot.
yeah.
But
I mean, it'll definitely matter what the uh, bracket looks like because of who's on like what side and stuff of it. Um, just because like sometimes that matters for certain teams, like avoiding other teams. If I'm looking at the odds right now, I got it pulled up. I see Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan all around the same odds of plus 300 to plus 400. Gonzaga and Baylor closer to plus 300. Out of all those, I definitely like Gonzaga the most, even though they're the least battle tested. Recently, Baylor has been awful on defense, giving up like almost every single team that they've played against has gone over their team total against them, and they've been very lucky in some of the wins that they've had. Michigan, even though they've played really well at times, you think the Livers injury and just having kind of played up to their competition and so many times, you're not sure if they're going to be able to stay. If I'm taking value, Illinois at plus 1,000, I think, is a good shot, or Florida State at plus 1,600, Texas at plus 18 to 1. Those are the teams I like. West Virginia. I mean, I'd rather take a team with value like Alabama or West Virginia or anybody. Like I'd rather take somebody that has value to maybe get a Final Four push, like Tennessee or um, you know maybe even like an Arkansas or I like teams like that. I don't really like some of these other teams because like if you basically gave me look, because like teams tend to fall in between certain ranges, like odds ranges. I could tell you like the one team I like out of like the teams that fall within similar odds, um, and I think that that's the best approach to take if you're actually going to bet futures and stuff on these. But you got to bet the futures throughout the season, I think, to really take advantage of the odds swings, knowing who's good before they change the odds and that sort of thing. But who do you like? Who do you think's gonna make a run?
Man, I like Gonzaga. Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard
don't,
not
don't,
to.
yeah, but I
They
guess
almost feel due in a way, like having so many good teams for so many years and made it close, but not that, not being able to make the final run.
yeah, I just think I don't know, the defense worries me a little bit, and but I'm not going. My thing is I look at Gonzaga, and I look at the team. Yeah, and people say, oh, they're not good against the spread, but yeah, but they're always like 20 point, 18, 19, 20, 30 point
Yeah,
favorites.
there was that ridiculous types of odds.
So yeah, but I like them. I mean, you got CRISPR and Timmy and Suggs is playing out of his mind. So yeah, and that BYU game, and actually I was doing a show with a Legion. And I'm like, oh, BYU is still up two with like about 5-6 minutes to play. I said, oh, it looks like they're struggling, and they end up winning that game by like 10 or whatever, 10, 12, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they're a different team. And I understand what you're saying about battle tested, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, but
battle tested matters, but it also matters having talent. So
yeah, and then they
depth.
did,
So
and they did kick the crap out of West Virginia. I think
yeah,
yeah, earlier in the year. I mean, yeah, I mean that's my thing, and I always find it funny when they put Gonzaga and talent in the same sentence because you think it's Gonzaga. Most people would say, "Where is Gonzaga?" I mean, Mark Few's done a great job there.
yeah, they've had an amazing season too, right? And
Yeah,
they've overcome some big deficits in that BYU game recently and stuff. So they definitely are. They've proven they can overcome stuff. So too, I mean, they're not completely unproven against higher competition or high competition. So I don't think that they're. I think they deserve to be the favorites.
Yeah.
I don't think Baylor is justified to be the same odds as them at this point. You know what I mean? And they are. So we'll see what happens. I think that at a minimum, you're going to see Gonzaga make like a Final Four run.
Yeah, but here's my thing about Baylor, and I agree with you. But to be honest, though, I think before that had to go that COVID lockdown. At that point in time, the way they were playing, I thought they were probably arguably you could make the argument: are they better or not better than uh, Gonzaga? But they're just not the same since they've been
Yeah.
back, and you know, and it was kind of a rough time for them to hit that or go down that down slope. Even if it has to do with COVID, it's a bad time to do it, and they haven't looked great. And we'll see what again. It comes down to I think it comes down to a lot where they're placed in the bracket, and and who they have to go against. Like the 8-9 seed could be very interesting. 3-4 seed. It depends on who they're playing.
Yeah.
It could be interesting.
Yeah. No, they're not gonna have a smooth, clear cut path to victory. To the Final Four. They're going to have to overcome a lot. So it'll be fun to watch the tournament. So I don't know how exactly the schedule's all going to work out with everything, but at least it seems like we're going to get a full tourney. So should
Hey
be
mate,
fun.
you only need 5 players.
Yeah, only 5 players and
That's all.
a few refs to fix the games.
Well, no, my point is, yeah, no, that's the thing. But you only need 5. Once the tournament, once the tournament's been announced, and I think it's Tuesday. Then
Yeah,
then it's locked, and it wasn't. I don't know, it's still Dave Gavin, but he basically said, or the head of the NCAA said, "Oh, you only need 5 players. If you have 5 healthy players, take the court." Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting, right? It's gonna be interesting.
it
So,
is for sure.
uh, quick turn to baseball.
Yeah.
So, are you a Yankees or Mets guy?
Oh, Yankees, man.
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah, my dad's a Mets fan.
Yeah, I like your old man. Nah, I just listen. No, man, it goes back to like the early '80s runs with the Mets teams, and then nah, they're terrible though. So, I've done a couple of baseball breakdowns with Ray Cape and AM Plus Money, a couple of other insiders on here,
Yeah.
and we broke down the American League East. So I'll ask you because that's your kind of region. What are you looking coming out of that division, or what are your thoughts about that division?
Um, think you gotta the Yankees got to be clear cut favorites.
Can they
So
stay healthy?
yeah, that's obviously the key. If you get a full season out of Cole, and you know you're actually getting most of a full season out of these other guys that tend to get hurt every year, you just never know what's going to happen with the injuries. It seems like with their team, the one thing that's good is that they have a lot of guys that they can plug in. So I think that they will win the division in the end, but it'll be fun to watch teams like the Blue Jays, and some of the younger teams, and how did the Rays bounce back after losing some of their guys, right, to free agency, and they always seem to have this low salary cap, but then bring up guys that perform well instantly. So we'll see if they can just do the same thing, or if the Yankees can pull ahead. And I don't know really what to make yet of the Sox, but it should be. I know that they're in rebuilding mode, so they're not gonna hopefully be contenders, because I don't like the Red Sox. winning the division. That's for sure.
On the chat here, Right Cape just pointed out that your headphones matches the insider's room
Oh yeah,
graphics color.
that's solid. That's solid. Yeah.
We, we didn't buy those for you, did we?
I don't think so.
And I was just wondering, because if they did, then
It's like Insider Room branded headsets.
I mean, if they did, then I've got to start contacting people, and because
Right?
I haven't got mine yet. All right, so the two things we've covered is the other one is the American League Central.
Oh, you talked about the Central,
Yeah.
your team, huh?
Of course.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that division?
I mean, got like the Sox, right?
Of course, I do. You know that.
I mean, got like the Sox. Yeah. Dark horses to win the World Series. Put in your tickets now.
I like. I was so high on them until they hired the 76-year-old geriatric that's living in the 50s and
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't understand how to not drink and drive.
That division, it seems like the only teams that ever come out of those divisions, right? That division, right? That tend to make runs. If you think about it, they always have some ridiculous pitching staff. So I mean, I know they got they got Giolito, right? So like, I don't know if they can get a full season of like a dominant pitching staff, but that's what they need.
Hey, their bullpen is second to none right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what you need. I mean, you definitely need bullpen and pitching staff.
I think their bullpen second to none, and unlike unlike the Cleveland team this year that's got some outstanding pitching, the Sox can just hit the cover out of the ball.
Yeah, I know they can hit home runs and put up some really crooked numbers, some innings.
And we've got and they signed Jonas's younger brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he any good?
Supposedly this year is the best. He was the best prospect out of Cuba.
Wow.
Or I'm not. I throw that out there. I'm not 100% sure he's from Cuba. Wherever Jonas is from, he was the best prospect out of the foreign talent that you can sign this year. He was the best prospect coming out. Right, Cape says, "What's the over under that he gets more DUIs before he's gone as manager?"
It's funny.
Man, I to be honest with you, I think Jerry Reinsdorf will have a limo waiting for him. Yeah, I mean that whole I don't know, that whole thing is I want him to get AJ Hinch.
AJ Hinch, yeah, he's good. Knows how to win.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how smart he is. He went to fucking Detroit. And you know how I feel about Detroit teams. Look at all of them. Any team in Michigan's not good. Pro sports are bad.
At least they're consistent. Yeah, that's the one thing.
Michigan's tanking. State's bad. Hey, but at least we have a sponsor.
Hey, Georgetown's back, man, in the Big East Championship. Looks like they're up 31 points to Creighton.
All right, cool. All right. Wait, I'm going to leave you on. Talk about whatever you want for like 30 seconds. I got something I have to do.
All right, man.
Just freestyle and riff, mate.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm just watching some of these live scores. I see that Houston is now gave up the lead to Memphis and just scored a bucket. They're now up 62-61, coming down to the wire. Tie game. Looks like it just tied up. So should be a fun one there. And then Texas looks like they're pulling away against Oklahoma State in the last minutes. So that'll make Texas favorite to probably, move them up a little bit in their seeding in the NCAA tournament, which is big. Yeah.
So what happened to you, mate?
Oh no, I think I lost connection there. I was talking for a while though.
Yeah.
These games are getting interesting though. The Oklahoma State just won't seem to go away against Texas, and the other game is tied, Memphis and Houston, 62-62. But yeah, that's what I mean though. Like these teams just make runs, you know what I mean? So like if you see a team that if you know a team well, right? And they're down and you can get them at a really, really nice spread, like take the spread at like a half a unit or whatever and sprinkle like a little bit on the money line and try to hedge back. Like it feels the one thing I'll say about it is a lot of times you feel like you're making those bets and like they feel weird because like the team's down by so much and the numbers you feel like, oh well, they have to score a lot to cover that, but you can get burned. Like a good example is this Creighton game because Creighton was a huge favorite, right? And they were 8.5-point favorites, and they ended up being 22-point underdogs at one point in this game. So you can get burned because the line can keep going down, 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 down. But I mean, if you're consistent and go for pay attention to the board and know the teams like that, and just keep hammering at the values, so to speak, like that. That's how you really can edge it out. Obviously, you can bump into the problem you mentioned where you have to be logged in and refreshing your browser to make sure that you're currently logged in so that you can grab it at the exact second you want it. It's really a grind in that sense because they have a lot of ways and fail-safe mechanisms built into the programming or whatever you want to say so that you can't take advantage of the live number. But that's why you just have to the only way you really get around that is just having practice with the technology, refreshing it and getting better, but also just being really astute and watching the games and knowing the teams better, well, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. But yeah, a lot of times you can tend to how the games are, watch how the games are going and get a sense of where the value is.
But also, I think it's, I 100%. But also, I think you have to, as people that maybe be doing this for the first time or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you have to get. It's hard. It's hard to bet for a team that's down 10 or 12 or 14 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Especially, knowing the circumstances, how much time's left, there's a lot of things you have to kind of take into an account. Otherwise, you will get burned,
I mean, at one point when I was out today doing some stuff, I get home, I turn on the thing, and I saw Alabama was down, whatever they were down, and they're plus 1,000, and I had this inkling. I mean, and again, as we talk about, you don't have to throw. It's not like throw units on it, but at plus 1,000, you can throw $10. There's 100.
Yeah.
And I'm like. But then I'm also thinking, well, and a lot of people, and sometimes I get the same way, and I'm just going to say 50-50. Sometimes I win. I would win. Sometimes I'd lose, but I just don't bet it. But the Alabama case in point,
Yeah. Did
You
you really
know,
see him at plus 1,000 though? Because most I saw him at was like plus 3 something,
I think they were around 10 or 12.
10 or 1,200.
No, when they're down 10 or 12 points.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They were definitely like 3 to 1 for a good while though.
Yeah, so,
But
but yeah, but that's my thing. And you look at, nah, but they're not that many. It's just a mental thing, isn't it? When you watch, oh, no, they won't come back. Oh, they're playing. Like,
yeah, I got
or the other day when Purdue was down, obviously they didn't cover. They
they.
didn't win. They win money line, but you could have got Purdue at plus 18 or whatever it was at some point, and then
I
like
know it's like a non-sweat bet at that point, but it
and then
doesn't
when,
always work that way, you know.
no,
So
I don't exactly. I just remember the ones when I didn't get in.
yeah, but more times than not, the things you want to remember, the who, like what ponies are you really looking at or betting on here? You want to consider that, like in the grand scheme of things, like the circumstance of like what the stakes of the game are in the situation, how much time's left, and then of course what's the
Right,
most important thing are what are the odds, like what are you going to get, like how many points and for what price or whatever, what do you need to cover for what price. So
right, right.
those are that's all I'm ever constantly thinking about when I'm like looking at the lines. It's like, combination of those things of like, is this the best the number is going to get? Like, you always want to kind of think about that too. Like, like, I always try to think of a situation where, like, if I'm taking a team live, like, if it got worse, like, if it went further against me, like, from that point on,
Right.
like how much worse do I think it's going to get? Like how much do I think it will swing or deviate from where it's at right now? Like that sort of thing. Well, I'd be like, well, I think they'll lose by 7, but not 10. Like that sort of thing. Like I always try to
Right.
push like a situation where in my head where it's like that's as far as I would probably think it would go, or that you know. And a lot of times I'll do stuff like I'll take it for like a small amount at this price because I think it's just I have to take it because of the value. And if it swings back in my direction, I can live with it. And
Hmm.
then if it doesn't, I'll double down and I'll get more value. And I'll say, and if I lose it, I'll just eat it. And I'll say, you know what, I lost it, but if I take that approach every time, where I'm like, I know that like I do that consistently, where it's like I'll bet the half a unit, and then if it goes to that breaking point where I said that, this is as far as I think I'll go, and I double down, I'll double down, and sometimes I'll get the value back, and get the money line, and I'll get the extra, like you said, the extra value on the money line, and it winds up kind of edging out over time if you can pick more winners. So like that's the that's the key there, because at the end of the day, it's just like when you're picking live lines, are just like when you're betting normal lines. At the end of the day, the numbers everything. So obviously, it's different because it's based on the circumstances of when you grab it, but it's still the same in the sense that you want to find the best value and the best number. So you know they're they're incredibly sharp. A lot of times, these live lines, you'd be surprised at how many times they come down to the hook, or they get you right in
Right.
that exact circumstance from when you grabbed it. So yeah,
But yeah, it was like it's like kind of, and obviously that's why it's much gambling. But I
yeah,
had no, but I had and I ended up just going to bed. I didn't want to watch it, but I had North Carolina, and then I got a push. I'm like, oh, I didn't watch the game. I said, oh, let me look back. I mean, North Carolina could have very easily won and covered that game,
yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
but I probably should have lost that game.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Well, when the line is sharp like that, it usually comes down to like free throw, a rebound,
Right.
a turnover, a ref calling a charge versus a block. Like, it's if you actually go back and evaluate things like that from that perspective, you kind of should. That's when you kind of realize you shouldn't beat your chest too much when you win,
Oh,
and
of course.
don't be too down on yourself when you lose either, because it's the same thing. So yeah, exactly. That's why it's gambling. Uh, but yeah, that's why it's key. Just like to stay consistent or whatever in your approach, and trust your process, so to speak. And
Right.
then like just keep staying disciplined in the type of approach you take, and you know not deviating from what you do. This guy's a stud though.
Yeah.
I'm watching this kid Cunningham.
Yeah.
Absolute stud, dude. Like the way he can back a guy up, post him up, shoot the three, drive to the hoop. He's got all phases. Like he's gonna be a instant offense in the NBA for sure. Instant offense.
Yeah. That's what I said. I'm just saying he's like, and I just use Danny Manning because I go back to my days, and that's the one name that always pops into my head. But I couldn't remember, was it Kimball Walker or Shabazz Napier that basically led them to a title?
Kemba was UConn.
But there's one guy that just like boom, when they went to the title, he just hit everything. I know he killed.
Kemba Walker did that for
Okay.
UConn. For UConn.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's that, Danny Manning did that year run for catch. He's that kind of guy that, all right, I'm going, just give me the ball. I'll do whatever I have to do. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I know if you follow our Big 12, if anybody will follow the Big 12 show, that was Legion of Pigs guy to make the Final Four.
Wow. That's a good pick. That's impressive. I mean, Cunningham, this guy, he's like, he's like one of those guys. I can see why it would be the number one pick. I don't know if he's like as much as athletic freak as like Edwards was last year. Edwards is such an athletic freak, like, but he does seem to have like certain parts of his game are more fine tuned than Edwards' game, like the way he can post people up, and he's definitely a better passer, I would say, like assist guy. So I mean, their games are different. But yeah, I like him a lot. And there's just like really there's not like a lot of superstar talent, in the NCAA. It's a lot different than the NBA in the sense that there's not like everyone knows the names of all the best players in NCAA. Like, no,
Right.
these guys actually stay under the radar until this time of year, and then they get like a little bit of recognition. It seems like towards the end of the year when they start to play and make runs. There's only a few guys that really are known and don't make a run that get drafted super high. So I like watching these guys make their money in the NCAA tournament, or make their draft positioning stronger by making a run.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Hopefully, if you're up for it, mate, I'll give. We can come on next week and we can talk about a region.
Yeah, the bracket. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
It's good. I think it's good for us both, to just talk it out and get our thoughts out and bounce them off each other.
And the other thing is, are you a baseball fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So in the next couple of weeks, as people are aware, we do a talking baseball, and we're going to be closing up the American League tonight after we finish. But if you're interested, I'll give you the time if you want to come on and with Right Cape and AM Plus Money. The our football AM's our football expert, and Right Cape's our
Yeah.
NASCAR guy. If you want to come on and join us and breaking down this each division of the National League, mate, you're more than welcome, and I would love to have you on.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Just let me know when, and I'm in for sure.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, man.
All right. Yeah, mate. Thanks for coming, mate. But the last thing
Yeah.
before the bracket, this is pre-brackets because I'm not gonna hold you anything. Pre-bracket, your final four.
Give me Gonzaga, Illinois. Give me Gonzaga, Illinois. Florida State and I'll say Texas.
All right. I obviously when you get the brackets, I'll ask you based on brackets. But that's good. Yeah, I'm with you. I like Illinois, Gonzaga. I think those two will get there. The Livers injury hurts them. Baylor. I think the COVID issue is going to hurt Baylor. So I'm with you on those two.
Yeah, I mean it's super chalk. I could tell you tons of value guys I like as well, but I mean,
again, it takes.
I feel safer taking the chalk.
Yeah, but again, though, it only matters when you see the bracket.
Right. I mean, that'll change obviously for the regions and stuff, but
and
for straight up teams that are good, that are capable of winning that many games in a row,
And I'll just before we leave, I'll just leave you this one. My last team to make the Final Four, and I'm winking at this, is the MSU Spartans, presented by Rocket Mortgage.
No chance. The NIT, right? You mean the Final Four of the NIT? Yes.
Oh, you just let that whole promotion thing just fly over your head. So thank you for that. And
Rocket Mortgage, yeah.
That could be that'll be a discussion for the next time we meet.
Sounds good, dude. All right, man. Yeah. Let me know next time you want to have me on. Have a good night and good luck.
Actually, it comes down to this. You let me know what time you can come on, and then I can always arrange my schedule for you.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat something. All right, man.
All right, thanks, mate. Yep. And that was the first edition of the Insider's Room. The Insiders talking chat with Craig the Greek and the Professor, signing off on for this segment. And you can stick around because I've got Right Cape and AM Plus Money coming on, and we're going to break down the American League West for the upcoming baseball season. So stand in line for another 5-10 minutes, and you can catch that, or you can always catch the restreams on our Discord, Discord channel, YouTube channel, Twitch channel. So on that note, this is the Professor signing off. May all your best be winners.